They said they used to call Uncle Gershon the matzah man because it was 18 minutes of bechina, not 20 minutes. It lasted only 18 minutes. And he was known as the matzah man. But you were there, so Mr. Tama, your recollection is better. I don't know really what to say. I'm going to really try and be brief. There are certain art scroll books that I like. I read them. One of my favorites are Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. The one recently, Rabbi David Feinstein, was very good. I enjoyed Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky. The Rabbi Elyashiv book, I wasn't crazy about. And I thought to myself, why didn't I like it? And I realized that basically every page was the same thing. He learned, and he learned. He got up in the morning at 2 o'clock, he learned. He went to bed at 1 o'clock, he would get up at 2 o'clock to learn. No matter where he was waiting, he was learning. Everything was that he learned. And I say to myself, when it comes to Uncle Gershon, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, it really is the same thing. Anyone that talks about him is Uncle Gershon, Mishnah Berurah, Uncle Gershon, Halacha. Everything is always basically the same thing. This is what he was. It was, let me say this is the way the halacha is. There's nothing to talk about. You always saw him, the first thing Yitzchak said to me was, my father's up in Shemayim learning with the Chavetz Chaim now. When Golda called me about speaking, she said, I know him the longest out of the people here. I'm an old man. So I want to say that there really is more than that. To learn from this tzaddik who my dear Uncle Yitzchak, who's a role model to me, who used to, anytime I would say something, he would tell me, what daf is that on? And if I didn't know it, there was something wrong. Gershon was, in his own way, a little different. Halacha was everything, no question about that. Straight as an arrow, no question about that. But there was so much more. There was so much more to him. In yesterday's parsha, it starts, the Eibishter says, give me Zav, Chesed, and Achoshes. He asked the Klal Yisrael to make donations. Make donations. Frekter Moshe, at the end of the parsha, it says, make a donation for the Beis HaMikdash. L'chayr, it should have been the other way. Rabbi say, we're building a Beis HaMikdash. Therefore, I need these materials. Not give me these materials, stop. And then later on, he said, by the way, we're building a Beis HaMikdash. So Dr. Moshe, when it comes to Avodas Hashem, you don't ask questions. You just do. I want gold, I want silver, I want copper from you. For what? It's none of your business. Because the Eibishter says to do it. The Eibishter says, give me these materials. Later on, the Eibishter says that we're building a Beis HaMikdash. Uncle Gershon was that way. It's an Avodas Hashem. He was an Eved Hashem. Anything that had to be done. What am I talking about? Okay, Rav Aryeh mentioned before his emes in Torah. I remember by one of my kids' bar mitzvahs, his Parshas Bay, somehow I mentioned that there's a shita that Tzfardeo was a crocodile. He comes over to me, which happens to be, it's Yerushalmi, whatever it is. He comes over, where does it say that? I said I saw it in the Sefer. What type of Sefer did you see it in? Where is it? Show me where it is. The emes, there's emes when it comes to Torah. We had by the bar mitzvahs, we gave out, you have to give out a present. We gave out these Shomer Shabbos tooth things that you could use on Shabbos. Yitzi, how do you know that Ashkoch is good? I said, I don't know, it has Ashkoch on it. It's a toothbrush. I don't know. How do you know it's good? Did you check it out? Will you mevar it? I said, and Emma says, I really had no idea about it, but you have to, before you're giving this to people, you have to check. It has to be perfect. You have to know for a fact what's going on with it. We had a bris that was delayed. And it ended up being on a Sunday. My beloved Uncle Gershon, who I loved, and I really feel we had such a wonderful relation, calls me up, and he says, Yitzchak. I said, yeah. He goes, did you push off the bris just to make it on Sunday because it's convenient? I said, no, chas v'sholom. I said, because I hope that's not the case, because you shouldn't do that. You have to do the halacha, and whatever day you're supposed to do the bris, you're supposed to do the bris. I said, no, that's just to work out. We had the blood work last night. This is the way he came up to the bris. This is a man who when he had 2 extra buttons on his shirt, I'm sure the family knows better, was terrified. I'm walking the street on Shabbos, I have 2 buttons. So what do? What would I do? I'd say, okay, I'll go home, I'll think about it, I'll ask a shayla, I'll call my Rabbi afterwards. He takes off his shirt. He takes off his shirt because that's halacha. With his halacha, there is no compromise. It's absolute. Halacha is absolute. He called me up about a shayla, none of my business, but it had to do with tzava. Yeah, halachas for tzava. And we were talking la halacha. Not that I'm an expert in the slightest bit. All right? We were going on what the different halachas were. I had a mazel, someone came to my house, and he wrote a sefer on wills. So I got this sefer. Okay, I gave the man whatever he wanted, and I sent it over to Uncle Gershon. First question is, how do I know I can rely on the sefer? I said, look at the askamas, whatever you do. But we have to check it out. Can you do me a favor? Please call Reb David to find out if the sefer is correct, whether I could be samech on it. What was he? What's the lesson? And I'll be messiahing with this. There's so much to say to go on. There's so much to say. I want to say one other thing. He's my uncle, not my father. I remember as a little kid, being upstairs in our house and hearing him, Uncle Gershon and Yitzchak learning together. Every day, do you remember? Every day. And it had to be perfect. And Grandma Lau Shalom used to say, let him, don't worry, don't push him so much. And she went over to him once. I remember, I was a kid. I remember it. You don't remember it, you weren't there. He said, why are you stooping him so much? He has to learn. It's Torah. There's nothing to talk about. But that doesn't mean that he didn't have a sense of humor. When Zadie was older already, he had my mother, he had Uncle Gershon, Uncle Yitzchak together, and he decided that he didn't want there to be any machlekes with the division of the house. All right? That everyone should get 1/3 of my parents' house. All right? And Gershon says, sure, become a gadol. Well, of course, chas v'shalom, there's not going to be any machlekes. And my mother, Zolkazon says, Daddy, what are you doing? It's my house. What are you talking about? He had a sense of humor. With all of it, he had a sense of humor. You used to see it come out in shul. He was the gabbai in shul. He ran it. He ran things. There were times I saw, again, I'm speaking of certain things that I saw as a child. People started up with him. There's one person in particular that started screaming at him in front of the whole shul. Why is my son-in-law not getting an aliyah? And it was a chashuva person. The person that screamed at him learned by the Chavetz Chaim. Why did my son-in-law, and in front of the Kol Am Ve'eda, he didn't lose his temper. He was calm. He apologized. He didn't have to apologize. The guy, I have to know for a fact, didn't want an aliyah. I know the person did not want an aliyah. He was happy to go Hagba. Bifnei Kol Am Ve'eda, he just apologized. How does someone get that? How does someone get that control? Moshe couldn't figure out how to build the menorah. Hashem says, take it, throw it into the fire. Aleph Shin, Eish. Eish, you want to know, you can't figure something out, how to become something. You need Emunah Shlema. Aleph Shin, Emunah Shlema. What was Uncle Gershon? As far as I'm concerned, I told you, I held him to be a Lamed Vavnik. Who am I to decide? No one. But I really believe, listen to Emes. His goal in life, whether he was in the IRS, whether he was wherever he was. My mother said that it was Rabbi Diskin, that when Zadie was in South Carolina and he came back, that's where it opened up in him. And that's where it brought out the tzidkis in him, the absolute tzidkis. But he had one shita. Everyone knows that when he used to go we used to go Chas v'Shalom to go to Kiryas Sefer. You can't go; it's not from enough. You only can go to Bnei Brak. That's where the Shechina is. Acha sha'alti me'es Hashem oisa avakish. Shifti b'beis Hashem. What do you mean shifti b'beis Hashem? Kol yemei chaya. You can't be shifti b'beis Hashem kol yemei chaya. You eat. You go to the men's room. How can it be? If every act that you do is l'shem shamayim, every act is l'shem shamayim. When you're eating, it's l'shem shemayim. When one goes to the men's room, it's l'shem shemayim. That's still considered shifti b'beis Hashem. Uncle Gershon let him be a melech yosef for the whole mishpacha. That's what he was. Everything was Torah. Everything was mitzvahs. It could be with a smile. It could be serious. It was Eretz Yisrael, it was tzedakah, it was mishpacha, it was the joy in everything. As tough as he was, I saw it, I'm telling you, I saw a joy that he had in it, because it was the emes Torah. Let him taka bila amavis l'netzach, amach Hashem l'kim dimim alkol upon him. Let him be taka meletz yoshu for the whole mishpacha. May we only get together for simchas and Yitzchak.
Amen. Shakayach, beautiful, Yitzchak, beautiful.